Hello, and thank you for joining us for an episode of That Solo Life, the podcast for PR pros and marketers who work for themselves. You are here with this dynamic duo. I am Michelle Kane of Voice Matters. I am here as ever with Karen Swim of Solo PR Pro. How are you today, Karen?
I am so fabulous, Michelle. Thank you. How are you?
Doing well, not bad for you. Gosh, we're in mid-September already. Can you believe it?
Ah,
I'm good. I'm good. I'm really excited about today's topic because I think it's so important. And I think that as solos, it's so easy to just kind of put your head down and get her done and have great thoughts of doing this. But, it's really important to keep some kind of mentor relationship going. So today we're going to talk about the value of mentorship. And it's not just for college interns.
yeah, I love that. Uh,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right, and it's funny because I think that people have forgotten, even at that level, the value of mentoring the next generation. I've seen
Yeah.
some horrifying stories about how people are treating their interns, and they're treating
Mhm.
them as cheap labor and treating it as a rite of passage to overwork them and
Ugh,
just throw things at them, which, is that really the introduction that we want to give them to the workforce? I
right.
think not. I mean, I think that we are seeing the results of our toxic work culture right now, and it's all being
Yes.
overturned.
Yes.
It's a nice opportunity to introduce them to, the workplaces that we all should be striving for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, as you go through your career, you're going to hit, certain points where you need a little guidance, where things come up or just, even when you're 5, 10, 15, 20 years in, you're going to have situations where, gosh, I wish I would know what someone who maybe was a little more seasoned than me would do. Have they had these experiences? How could they help me? And it's just great to be able to find those people. So I guess to talk about how do you find those people and, you know, how do you start that conversation? I mean, for me, I would think, as with anything that we do, we're a resourceful bunch. If you see someone out there that you identify with, you know, call them up, email them, just like, hey, would you be open to a chat every once in a while? And I think our Solo PR Pro group is a fantastic place for that as well. I mean, we mentor each other all the time, even without thinking about it.
That's very true. And so I think it's important that, mentorship does not just have to be this one-on-one relationship, right? It
Right.
can be,
Right.
you can find mentorship in a community of people, because
Hmm.
everyone has had different experiences, and they're at different levels. And there may be something new that you're tackling that you could use the insight of someone who has more experience in that area. Maybe it's not even about your area of expertise, but about business. And so
Yes.
looking for people that, have that experience. Maybe you're, trying to grow and scale your business. Look to people who have already done that successfully, that you sort of connect with, because I think it's important to have some type of a fit when you're seeking mentors. And
Hmm.
then, I always advise having your own personal board of directors.
Mm.
That's really important. The people who truly, know you, are invested in you, but will hold you accountable and tell you the truth. And you should have that board of directors that you can go to with the big important decisions and get, a different perspective, and have them, weigh in on it. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we're always going to do the thing that is best for us. But opening yourself up to that feedback can really help you to think through it strategically.
Right, right. And I don't know if it's been triggered by the pandemic or if it's just people realizing that we need that kind of thing. I'm seeing it in my local region. We had a program at our chamber recently where it was almost a peer-to-peer sharing of experiences, and that had such a great response that we're mimicking it for, instead of the trade show expo, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, let's, what's your story? How did you get through X? Or, how do you deal with this? And we want to learn from each other because isn't that what we're here for? So I love the idea of seeking out someone who, yeah, it doesn't have to be a fellow PR pro necessarily. It really depends, as anything that we do, right, in this world, is what's your goal? And how are you
Yeah.
get best going to meet that goal? So we work towards that. I know we have seen wonderful situations in our group where PR pros have paired up to be accountability buddies, whether it's related to a specific project that they're working on in their business, or just, meeting up from time to time to make sure that, oh, hey, that goal that you set for yourself, how's that going? I think it's
I agree.
important.
And I think whether you're new, mid-career or seasoned and you're seeking a mentor in a one-on-one situation, it's really important if you're reaching out to someone, whether you know them or don't know them, to be really specific about what you need mentorship for, set a clear timeline, and have some really definitive goals. So, let's say that you are in the process of growing and scaling your business, and you reach out to someone and say, I heard you, or I read this book that you wrote, or I saw this article that you wrote about X. And I am in the process of growing and scaling my business. The roadblock that I'm hitting is X. And would you be open to meeting with me for 30 minutes, once a month for the next 3 months? And I am happy to, give something back, say,
Right.
I can offer this in exchange. And it doesn't necessarily have to be financial, but I think it's really important, particularly for busy people, to, have something very clear. Because if you leave it super open-ended, what are you talking about? That could
Yeah.
not be helpful to either of you. And you want to show the person that you're not wasting their time.
Right.
Um, have something super specific. I would rather somebody, even at the beginning of their career, say, hey, would you mind, mentoring me on how to really craft a good pitch for the media? That's super specific. And then we can say, okay, let's, plan to hop on the phone twice over the next couple months for this period of time. Show
Mhm.
me some, you can get super specific, and then it makes me feel valued, and I'm happy to help you, but I have something that I could really help you about. I don't always have the time, and I know
Right.
that there are people that are far busier than me to just have long conversations that are not going to be fruitful. I just, I don't have the bandwidth for that. So
Right.
be mindful about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, putting yourself in the shoes of the person you're asking, think if someone just said, "Hey, will you mentor me?" And it's like, okay, well, now I have a project in my lap. What do you want from me? Am I going to be creating this sort of curriculum, if you will, this guidance for things I think you might? Yeah, I need to know. I need to know what you need. You know, so
Yeah.
definitely be clear when you're reaching out to someone, especially if it's someone you don't know, or only know very casually or peripherally. Uh, and in which case, maybe it's a case of having a colleague in common make an introduction or something too, if you're a little reluctant to just reach out to someone. But I think, there have been a few times along the way where there have been people who've inspired me, to really know that even working this way was possible. And when I say that to them, they almost are caught by surprise. I'm like, no, really, that, just you telling your story was an inspiration, and a way of, what's the word? Not a subconscious mentoring, but,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It was
uh,
maybe passive mentoring. Like they didn't
that's
even
the word I
realize
wanted. Thank you,
that
a passive mentoring, yes. Oh my
oh,
goodness,
I mean, so many people that truly have inspired me, and I've
yeah,
taken something that I've heard from them and implemented it, and it's
yes.
made a world of difference. And so, yeah, I love that, Michelle, because it's not always the seeking. And I honestly do think that, and maybe you stay connected with mentors from early in your career. I know
Oh, yeah.
people who have had professors that have been mentors throughout their career. Those relationships are so valuable.
Mhm.
But in addition to those one-on-one relationships and being part of an organization that allows you to tap into, mentorship when you need it, I think it's passive mentorship also should play a role.
Mhm.
And I think what you hit on is good, is that we always want to continue to be inspired and
Yes.
encouraged to, you know, take it to the next level. And that does
Mhm.
not always mean take it to the next level in terms of growth or finances, but just in your perspective, your thinking, and continuing to mature in your profession.
Mhm.
We never stop learning and growing. At least we shouldn't want to. We
Right.
never rest on our laurels. As communicators, we should always be striving to, get better, know more, increase our knowledge base. Even if you've been
Yeah.
at this for 35 years, you can still have this attitude of
Right.
learning. That is how you truly master your craft.
Yeah, yeah, and especially you may not think you need it, but trust, you do. You do need it. You know, even speaking on a larger scale as a more of an introverted person, you think, "Ah, I don't need to get out with people," and then you do, and you have a little 10-minute conversation, you thought, "Oh, I didn't realize how much I needed that." And yeah, even observing how different people navigate their situations in business, it can, all these teachable moments are all around us and in ways that we can be enriched and I just think it's such an important thing to include as part of your successful business. And masterminds, they aren't quite the same, but they are, that might be
Yeah,
something you might consider too. And as we've often said around here, if you can't find one, create one. I mean, what better, isn't that a cool way if you have a handful of people you'd like to get to know better, invite them, make the
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, and it
The
could,
thing that you
a
need.
mastermind doesn't have. So if you're going to do a true mastermind, here's my tip of having been part of many masterminds over
Mhm,
the years, and also have run a few.
mhm.
Make it a financial mastermind. Like,
Mm,
you should have some skin in the game, and I'll tell
yeah,
you what, it shouldn't be a
yep,
little bit of money. Even if you're gathering 4 to 5 other, people that you have relationship with, and you guys are doing this to push each other, I would say make yourself pay. Like, it doesn't
yeah,
have to go to a particular, person or organization, but you should pay, and you should make it an amount that makes you a little bit uncomfortable, because then you'll be committed. Because
yeah,
what happens in these loosely formed groups is that it's so easy to blow it off. It's so easy to come to each meeting and not have done, what you said that you were going to do. I
yeah,
mean, full transparency, I was part of an accountability group. Actually, me and my best friend started one a couple of years ago, with some great friends who really are great business people.
yeah.
None of them are PR people. The only people that lasted were me and my best friend. And
Oh, man.
also, I'm gonna just say, we were
Yeah,
also the only people that exceeded all of the goals that we had all initially set together. Everybody sort of fell by the wayside. It wasn't
yeah,
paid.
yeah,
And I've been a part of paid ones, and it's a difference because it forces you. You have some skin in the game. So,
yeah.
but that's not to say that free opportunities. I know
Oh, yeah,
a couple of solos who became accountability partners, and
yeah,
they committed to one another and pushed each other, and it was great. So when you can find that, and you're, in it, and you both have that same level of commitment, it can
mhm,
absolutely work. I don't want to say that you always have to pay, but just if
right.
you're going to label it mastermind, my advice is to put
That's
a
true.
price tag on it.
Yeah, that's very true because, yeah, I mean, even with webinars and things, some of we sign up and they're like, "Oh, I'll watch the playback." It's someone asked me if I was attending a certain conference that I usually attend in person, and no. I mean, I would love to see all those speakers, but I know myself well enough to know when that day comes, if I am sitting here, I'm gonna be working, and I'll say, "Ah, I'll watch them later," and I won't,
Guilty.
So,
I have so
know
many.
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
know yourself. I do it all the time. I'm gonna just
yeah,
admit that. If I
yeah,
don't show up live and I get the recording, I have every great intention of
of course.
looking at that recording. And 99% of the time, I just don't, because
Right.
it's too easy to like shove it to the bottom of the list because you've got all this other stuff going
Mhm.
on. And bless you guys out there who, and
Do
I'm
it.
not you guys in a gender way, but bless you people out there who have the discipline and the
Yeah.
structure to really be able to put that on your agenda and watch something and take notes. Now, occasionally I do, but more often than not, like other things just outweigh it. So you're right.
Yes.
Why? Because there's no consequence to me not
Exactly.
watching it. Like
Exactly.
I didn't
Exactly.
pay for it and it was free. It was great content. I really wanted to, just
Yeah.
didn't get to it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think essentially what we're saying is find the right fit for you. All the things that we're mentioning right now may apply to you at different times during your life, during your career. Maybe it has nothing to do with business. Maybe you need some mentorship for some personal things, which would benefit your professional life just as a byproduct. So, we just encourage you to just sit and think about it. If it's something you've never thought about before, give it some thought and think, yeah, you know what? Maybe that would help. Or, maybe I could be a help to someone. And I think it just all boils down to the whole, business is relationship. So you have to really keep cultivating these different relationships. And eventually, I hate to say they'll pay off, but yeah, they'll just be beneficial to everyone. It
Yeah.
really will.
I
You
love
know.
that you also mentioned being a mentor because
Oh yeah.
there's no greater way to energize your perspective on what you do or your, an area of expertise, even if it's in a personal arena. I feel like every solo has something else going on. Like our solos are so talented. We've got yoga teachers and gymnasts and wellness
Yeah.
coaches and people that just do all these amazing things. So even if it's in a different, part of your life,
Yeah.
being a mentor just truly and it challenges your perspective because when you have to teach someone, then it reinforces, what you know, and it makes you
Yeah.
excited about it. So I love that you said that we should not only seek to be mentored throughout our careers, but to also be a mentor.
Absolutely. Sharpen each other's tools. That's how we get through this exciting life. Well, we thank you for spending a little bit of your life with us. And we'd love to hear from you. Hit us up at soloprpro.com and tell us about your mentorship experiences or, share it with a hashtag that solo life. We want to hear from you. And if you're enjoying this podcast, please share it around. Tell all of your solo PR pro friends and micro agency friends because we want more people to join us here. And until next time, thanks for listening to That Solo Life.